All right, welcome to the Kappa Cast, where we discuss various issues, such as how our days have been, certain video games that we enjoy, certain pieces of media that
Wait,
we
I
engage
gotta,
with,
I
and how
gotta
much we
do
fucking hate
something.
Bosnia.
So,
True.
yeah, um,
Not as bad as Serbia, though.
Not quite as bad.
They're coming for Jeremy. He has to run. The Serbians found him.
The Serbians found Jeremy.
Yeah,
Shit, bro, you gotta watch out. Watch out for those
those dirty Serbians.
Serbians.
Do they
I'm
torture
back.
you? Do the Serbians torture you? Jeremy?
He can't
Yeah.
say
Oh, fuck.
anything.
They cut off
He's
his
been
ears.
silenced by the Serbian government.
The Serbians, yes, they indescribable things, so indescribable that I will not describe them to you.
That's peak
Well, they're
indescribableness.
indescribable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally can't describe them
I'm
to
gonna say,
you.
like,
I can't.
gotta say,
Yeah?
for a Jedi, like, I'm on the first boss of this game. I'm on like the hardest difficulty available to you, unless you beat the game on the hardest difficulty. And the first boss is just like an absolute fucking pushover,
Well, it's the
beyond,
first boss. Come on.
like
Come on,
beyond
man.
what a normal pushover would be. Like he's like one of the last surviving Jedi Knights, so he's meant to be like proficient and shit. And you just absolutely roll his shit.
Yeah.
That's a
What?
tad
Is there a
cringe.
way to uninvert your
Uh-oh.
thing?
Your camera?
Yeah,
Not that I know of.
because I don't like having my camera
Oh no.
inverted.
Oh, no, I might actually lose this fight now saying that. I should. Oh no, I've fucked myself up.
Yeah, so what were we talking about last time, Jordan Peterson?
No, at the start of,
That was
at the end of the last episode,
Feet
we were
exposed.
starting to feet exposed. Let's go. So at the end of the last episode of the Kappa Cast, we were starting to talk about Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Hey, do not speak the Lord's name in vain. It's Doctor Jordan
Yeah.
B.
Sorry, Dr. Jordan Peterson.
No, I'm gonna lose this boss fight now that I fucking got cocky about it. Oh shit.
You
They're
You-
looking at the glazed over look that Angus is now producing. I think he has no interest in Dr. Jordan Peterson, but only just to fight boss in game and possibly die.
Oh, I beat him. Okay.
to die.
Okay, there we
No problem
go.
now.
Ooh, GG.
Not an issue. All right.
Ah.
Anyways,
Inverted. Why is it inverted?
I mean, we're talking about Jordan B. Peterson, but like I'm not really going to be able to substantiate a lot of what I say because I don't, as I said when I was talking to Chris before, I don't
Yeah.
really have a lot of thoughts about him as of right now. Outside of like he's kind of a right wing hack, and he did a bunch of fear mongering about Bill C-16. But beyond that, I don't really have a super informed opinion about him. So I would rather not come out and say like some really like make a really strong statement about him, unless I can.
Yeah.
I've done enough research to be able to substantiate
That's
what I
fair.
say.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I think generally speaking, I think like we could get if what might be helpful, what we could do is have a discussion about like the ethics of like if you can about like the straight up like lying about certain pieces of legislation to make your point, for example, like if you can still if you should still be able to have a legitimate like be considered a legitimate figure of anyways. I don't know.
Yeah.
So-
I don't even know if
Yeah.
he's lying or not, really.
And what points did he have to lie about? Because you're saying that he lied about certain parts
Yeah.
of Bill 16. Bill C-16.
So my understanding is he kind of represented it as this like so firstly he referred to the Ontario Human Rights Commission as a radically leftist organization and did a bunch of fear mongering about how like or to my knowledge, about how Bill C-16, like it's going to be like if you accidentally misgender people, then it can be used to like arrest you and whatever and stuff like that. Which isn't true, and I think like a way of telling that, like if anyone had actually been arrested for like accidentally misgendering someone under that law, like it would be all over the news everywhere, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. Anyways,
Because I know that you don't want to, Angus, you don't want to make a strong statement about him like right now because you consider yourself uninformed to a point.
to a point, I
Yeah.
know a little bit about Jordan Peterson, but
Hmm.
I'm not informed enough. Like I can't.
Is your camera on?
Yes. I'm like uninformed. Sorry, I'm not informed enough to have like a really solid debate about it, where I make like a really strong point about him. But I can have like a general discussion about my views on
Hmm.
him. I think I have very strong views about like misinformation and the way that censorship should work.
How do you
But
think censorship should work when it comes to
I think
misinformation?
I think if you like, I think you should be allowed to have opinions. I think like any opinion should be like you should be allowed to have that. But deliberate misinformation, like if you say things that is factually untrue, you should lose your platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if there's like a piece of legislation that comes out, and then you wind up on like talk shows and news channels and stuff saying stuff that is factually untrue about it, I think you should just completely lose your platform. Like, so if you're on YouTube, for example, and then so I think a good example is like what's in me like an extremist views, right? If you're a Nazi, let's say hypothetically, I'm a Nazi, right?
Hypothetically, of
I think
course.
yeah, hypothetically, let's say if I'm a Nazi, I think I should be allowed to say, okay, I'm not going to say it from a first person perspective. I think Nazis, if
I'm
you're a
never gonna get
Nazi,
this to work, am I?
um, I would say like you shouldn't deplatform someone for saying. Hang on a sec.
Too
Let
bad,
me get my
XD.
thoughts together.
Yeah.
So if you say like black people and white people should not live together because I think society would be better if they didn't. That shouldn't get deplatformed, right? Because that is an opinion. It's not saying factually untrue stuff. But if you say black people and white people shouldn't be together because in these objective measures, society is more functional, blah, 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 that is objectively untrue. That is misinformation and you should get deplatformed for that. So, for example, if you're like that gets into like on environmental topics. If you say like the climate is not changing and we should not do anything about it, like if you say like yeah, saying stuff like that should just immediately get you deplatformed. I think there's no upsides to having people who just outright lie about like things. Having them have a platform, there's no benefit to it. As
So,
far as
what do you
far
mean
as
by
I'm concerned.
platform? Like, of course, people shouldn't listen to them, but like they should be like
Yeah.
banned from social
As in,
media.
if you have a YouTube channel and then you lie about stuff, you should lose your YouTube channel. Like, you should have your YouTube channel taken down.
Do you think there should be any
Um,
legal consequences?
Depends on the like harm that comes from your actions. Like, it depends on how much
Like-
harm is caused. So if you like lie about something and it gets someone killed, then yes. But if you lie, like, I don't know, like it depends.
It's like don't yell fire in a crowded movie theater.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sort of deal.
Like, if you do that, it's not, and nobody gets hurt. Like, you're an asshole and you'll probably get banned from the movie theater. But like, I don't think you should be like
Oh,
prosecuted
sorry.
for it.
Right.
Yeah, that type of thing. And I think so. For example, but like in examples like during COVID-19, if you're spreading shit about like how ivermectin is actually better than the vaccines or whatever, like that type of misinformation where there's like no real evidence, and then it brings people to go and like buy up like ivermectin storages, and then it fills up hospitals with people who have been eating fucking horse paste. And it prevents people who actually have COVID-19 from getting treated and stuff like that. I think if you spread misinformation like that, then yes, absolutely, you should face a bit of like some kind of legal consequence. So in that respect, I think people like Alex Jones, I think I would be perfectly okay with like him actually getting legal consequences for some of the shit that he said.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Right. I mean, to
I
be
don't know,
fair,
but how many people actually take Alex Jones seriously?
too many.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. A fair few people do. It's not like a majority of the population, but there's like a he has a cult of personality for sure.
But I feel like he should have a platform purely because he's just so entertaining to watch.
Yeah, he is a very entertaining man. That is true.
Yeah. To be fair about the
yeah.
ivermectin thing, I mean, I'm pro-vax, but you know, ivermectin isn't just horse paste; it's used on humans too.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, ivermectin is used on humans too, and that there was like my understanding. I've from my like understanding of it, there was an example in like one hospital where someone where like before there was a vaccine, someone was like, well, they were kind of threw the kitchen sink at it, and they were like, let's try and use some ivermectin to on the like quality ivermectin on COVID patients. Just to see what works. And there was evidence in one very small situation where it like helped a couple people, but there's no like there's no like widespread like studies that have been done on it proving like anything that ivermectin significantly decreases rates of COVID or anything like that. Like there's no
Yeah. Right.
like
That makes sense.
you know like there's no like evidence that it's that it's better than the vaccine or anything.
Yeah. That's true.
And the other thing about that is that I was going to say is that like, well, ivermectin, that you are right, like it's not just horse paste; it can get used. There are a lot of people who, you know, especially in somewhere like America, might not have the money to go and see a doctor and get it prescribed, so they'll have to get the lower like animal quality stuff from because it's not over the counter; it's like a prescription drug. So they'll go and get it like so rather than getting it prescribed because they don't have the money, they'll go grab some fucking horse paste and down it.
Right.
Which is not ideal, I think.
Yeah. Not pog.
I don't know. What are your views on like censorship and stuff like that? I feel like I've done a lot of talking.
Yeah. Quite similar to yours, really. You know, I think any opinion should be allowed, legally and on social media and such things.
Oh wait, I thought you said. God damn it! I misheard what you said. I thought you said I don't think any opinion should be allowed.
No opinions allowed.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion, you're banned. Bro.
Actually,
I think the objective measure for like what to me opinions that shouldn't be allowed is me. Like, you know,
Yeah.
come and ask me
I am
personally.
the arbiter of freedom of
Yeah.
speech.
Like, just if you ever get to a point where you're saying, I don't know, is this opinion acceptable? Just ask me.
Yeah.
That's fact check. True.
And if I say no, that person gets arrested and they never see the light of day ever.
They
Yeah.
get shot
They get it. They get
in
it.
the
That's
leg
actually fine.
first, then the other leg.
Because fuck them.
And then leave them to bleed out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like there's this generally speaking like this kind of like libertarian view that free speech is a virtue in and of itself, whereas I heavily disagree with that.
How so?
Like I don't because I don't think freedom of speech by itself is something that is necessarily good, right? Because there's always going to be some degree of censorship that exists and or is necessary, right? We don't like as in if you just let anybody say anything anywhere, right? You get a lot of people who can just outright misinformation can be incredibly harmful. Is kind of the point that I'm getting at, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I don't think there's a virtue to just like allowing every opinion outright everywhere.
may I
Is
say this?
Mhm.
But just censoring the opinions isn't going to stop those people from having those opinions.
Not the opinions, but the misinformation.
Yeah, but it stops them from spreading those opinions as well. Properly.
Yeah, but like
so
if you... Sorry.
I get it because like I've heard Count Dankula make this like a number of times in that like if you the stuff with like if you don't let Nazis be Nazis openly, they'll just go underground with it and they'll like do like meeting groups and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, to a degree, like that it does like bring it underground, but also like if you can't access like big public platforms, it really fucks your ability to spread your narrative, right? So a couple of examples, right? Nick Fuentes, when he was on YouTube, he's a neo-Nazi, he was big on YouTube. He actually can't. He was growing his like user base quite a bit, like he had quite a big platform. Then he got perma banned from YouTube, and he's kind of just been underground since. Like he hasn't really been able to build the kind of audience that he had. Same with like this guy called Vincent James, who was like a bit of a Nazi, who was getting really really popular on YouTube. He got censored, and he does have an audience now, but it's like much smaller and it's not growing like it was before. So I think that there is actually like a benefit to like that there are some people. Obviously, like when I say this, like not like opinion, like you don't censor opinions, you censor like misinformation, but there actually is a benefit to censoring people. Like it does actually stem the spread of certain views if you
Yeah.
censor
If they're
shit.
spreading misinformation, yeah, censor them because that is actually harmful. If you're spreading like
Be right back.
misinformation, you know to be misinformation first of all. Like
Yeah.
if you know it's misinformation,
Yeah.
I feel like because
No, I think legally that there's no benefit distinction between it because like you can because that just means people who actually know that
yeah.
they're full of shit like they can just say like I don't know, I didn't know, and just keeps like I don't think there's any benefit in like making a distinction between deliberate and non-deliberate misinformation. I think, anyways.
Yeah.
So, if someone's wrong about something important, they should be deplatformed, even if they believed it.
Well, I guess I think there's some situations where yes, but it's not a universal thing. I think so. So for example, if there's a range of evidence on something, let's say there's I don't know, a disease that's spreading like everywhere, right? There's a really big disease. It's spreading everywhere. There's this and there's a vaccine to it that is proven to be like quite effective. I'm just using this as a hypothetical example because
Yeah, this would never
it'll have a
happen in real
distinction.
life.
Yeah, it'll have a distinction from COVID quite soon, right? So this disease is like COVID, but it's much more transmissible and it's much deadlier. There's like a very high death rate to this disease, right? And then there's this alternative medicine that isn't actually very helpful, but it's kind of purported to be helpful by a few like medical charlatans, right? Let's say I'm like a big public figure, and I see one of these charlatans doing stuff, and I share it, and my fans are like, "Oh, I think this could be helpful," and they take it. Even if I personally think that that's like the right thing to do, or it's like a good thing, it's still misinformation. You know, like I guess there's like a standard that people need to be held to, right? So if it's like a reasonable mistake, then yeah. But if it's like something where you really should know better, then it's.
Mhm.
I haven't phrased that the best, but do you get what I'm saying, right? Like there's like a. If you can reasonably prove that it was that it was a mistake and that it's something where like you can be like, well, it's reasonable to make that mistake, right?
Yeah.
Then I would say. Yeah, but if it's just like a really fucking stupid thing where you really should know better, like Jordan Peterson, who's a professor, like not like spreading stuff that's factually untrue about a piece of legislation in his home country. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yes, I would like to ask you a question. Just like, how would you know what's what's false information or what's not? Because there could be two different types of, let's say, the treatments that you propose theoretically, and those two types of treatments both work the same, and they do the same stuff, and they're effective.
well, if they both work the same and they both do the same stuff and they both have the same efficacy, then there wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a problem.
That's
But
my answer.
Yeah.
Then there wouldn't be an issue there.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just trying to.
My point. Okay. So you're saying like, who is the arbiter of what is factually
Yeah.
true and what is not?
Yeah.
And there could be like the scientific community could lie about. So firstly, like, I would say you go from the consensus of experts in that field. I think so. So for example, you and me, like, we're not like neither of us are medical scientists or
Yeah.
have any like expertise in the medical
Mm.
field. Therefore, like we should just unless one of us winds up with an expertise somewhere, we kind of just have to defer to the experts in that topic because we just don't know that much about it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it should just be like that like if the expert opinion is if you come out and say something that is just in complete defiance to what the scientific community is saying, and it winds up getting people hurt, then yeah, like, so if there's some like hypothetical treatment that has like a couple of like studies, have like a couple of not really studies, like what I can't remember what they're called, but like a preprint of a study, like a really small study with a small sample size. That's more of a like been done to get permission to do like larger studies and stuff, and then you cite that as a like this thing is a wonder drug and it should be used. Then I think it's pretty okay to platform someone for that. Yeah, I don't know, like.
So basically,
yeah,
the short answer would be basically if your view goes against the consensus of an expert, of experts in a field, basically that's
if your views go against the consensus of the experts in that field.
Yep.
And yeah, then I think it's reasonable to censor someone based off that.
fair enough. That makes sense.
Are we all in agreement with this?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I'm looking for something. I can't find it though.
Well, this is a bit of a non-smooth transition. But I was thinking, what do you guys think of the quote by Descartes? I think, therefore I am.
Yes.
I think therefore I am.
Agree.
Yeah. That can I just like I'm not I haven't read a lot of philosophy just so I know that I understand this quote. It's basically saying that there's no like objective way to prove existence. So the only thing that we can guarantee is real is that thoughts exist.
Basically, the thing was Descartes. He was thinking about how there's no way to prove that there isn't a demon following him around and making him think everything he thinks, right?
Yeah.
So he's trying to think, what things do I know for sure have to be true in response to the radical skeptics that think there's no way to know anything is true. And so he came to the conclusion, I think therefore I am, to mean me, just by virtue of me considering am I real, am I not, is evidence that he is real.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Like
The only thing that you can confirm is that you exist, is that you're real.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a radical skeptic. I'd have to say I disagree.
Right, okay. Tell me what's the basis of your disagreement?
Essentially, the argument makes perfect sense, right? You're thinking, so you have to exist, right? But
Yeah.
Yes.
my kind of criticism is that just because something makes logical sense to us, because we are inherently flawed, it can still be false, even if it makes logical sense to us.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I have
Jeremy?
objections.
Yeah?
Despite how flawed we might be, okay, we still feel everything. Like, if I pinch myself like this, I go, ow, that hurts. And, like, that pain, like, however, like, artificial, like, you might say, oh, it's, like, your brain tricking you or whatever. But,
Jeremy.
like, you are still feeling that pain.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeremy, basically you're saying that what constitutes reality is what you're feeling right now.
For me, my reality is, like what
Your
my
reality is
senses are
what you
taking
feel.
in.
Yes.
Like what's happened, not just what I feel, but like what I see, like all the senses and like what I'm thinking, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So basically, your reality will have to consist of your senses, your feelings, and basically anything that you think of.
Yeah. So basically, all sort of how do I say this?
Basically,
I mean,
anything you can
experience
see.
is the best kind of thing to say for that. I think
So
so.
basically, anything you see, experience, feel, sense. Like, okay, let's say understand as well. Maybe that constitutes that
Yeah.
everything that you understand is real.
Well, no, not everything I understand is real because,
Well,
like,
not everything you understand, but like everything you understand about yourself. Let's say that.
not even that. No,
Believing
I'm
yourself.
not even trying to say. I'm just saying, like, well, like, I know for like a fact that I exist,
Yes.
and you guys know for a fact that you exist. Well, except for Jonesy because
Jonesy
he
doesn't exist.
But
He's an
Jonesy,
AI.
you don't.
I don't exist.
I think Jonesy's point is you don't know for a fact that I exist. I could just be a figment of your imagination. You
Oh
can
yeah,
confirm that you exist, but you can't confirm that I do.
No,
I
Oh
I
could just
can
yeah.
be some
confirm
figment
that
of
I
your
exist
imagination. Oh right,
with
okay.
100% certainty.
yeah.
I can use
He's
my
saying
logic
that.
to come to the conclusion that pretty much I exist, confirmed. Just for practical use.
Jonesy, you're real, confirmed.
Jonesy, real, confirmed.
100% real? What? Jonesy
Jonesy's just
confirmed?
a figment of our imagination, or is
Frank
he
gone wrong, gone sexual?
100% flesh and blood?
Jonesy's life gone sexual, Frank's gone wrong.
I hope so. No, I live by the belief that I'm real, and some would say that that would mean I believe, but I disagree because there's no proof. Definitively, there's no proof that anything exists really.
The proof
Well,
is
you
all in
live
your
by the fact
head.
that you're real because it's practical to do so, but like, there's no like, if you come to the conclusion immediately, like I'm not real, like there's no utility in that, and you can't really live a life. However, you can't definitively prove
Right.
even then, like, yeah, if that makes sense, like.
Yeah. Well, Jezza, do you think that if you sense something, that means it's real?
If I what?
If you sense something, does that mean it's real?
If I sense something, what do you mean?
As in, like, you hear it, smell it, touch it, things
Oh,
like
you
that.
sense.
Well, I don't. Well, I know that I'm feeling that. I know that I know that I'm experiencing that. That's something I can 100% agree. Whether that thing's real is another matter, but I know 100% that I am experiencing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, okay. So, if we were to understand, if we were to think, like, if I think, therefore I am. If we were to somehow, think that and all the senses and all your experiences come in, then how the hell would your brain come up with the idea of someone like, let's say 2,000 years ago, maybe even more than that, said, "I think, therefore I am."
It was like 400 years ago.
Was it
Well,
400
you would
years ago?
see. Well, we don't know that that person actually said it. You read the
Yeah,
writing. Like it was
you
a
read the
writing that
writing.
exists.
But
You
based
could
on
hypothetically have just come up with this entire like you could that writing could just say that someone said the person said it 400 years ago.
yeah,
You
based
don't
on
actually know that
my
the person actually said it.
based on my reasoning, having heard of it from multiple sources, I can come to a reasonable conclusion that he did say that. So I live by
Yeah.
him having said that,
Yeah.
although there's no 100% definitive proof that he did.
Yeah. I mean that gets into like how history works as well. Like there's no
Hmm.
with anything like because you can't actually bring back history, you can't recreate history. You're never going to get everything. You just have to take back. You can get like a wide range of sources and get a pretty good idea of what that history looks like. But you
Yeah.
can't actually recreate everything that happened. So there's naturally, and the further you go back and the worse the sources are, the less you're actually going to definitively know. Like, you know,
Right.
like,
I mean, I have
so,
this thought
yeah,
experiment.
so-
I mean, imagine you have this society, right, that is debating just like us, and they're thinking, 2 + 2 is 5. I mean,
That's
everyone knows this. This is a self-evident fact, right? 2 + 2 is 5, and so even the most radical skeptics would say, yeah, 2 + 2 is 5. Although we don't know for sure, right? I mean, technically we could all be wrong. That's that would be me in this virtual reality, right?
okay.
So
Yeah.
people say, So you get 2, you add 2, it equals 5. It's obvious. It's just like us going, we exist, we think, therefore we exist, right? So just as in this virtual reality, their logic makes absolutely no sense to us, maybe in their reality, our logic makes no sense to them. Like, you could easily think but not exist, right?
Okay, Transit. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe in the I think it's the multiverse theory? Otherwise, you're just using that example as a theoretical thing.
I don't necessarily believe in it, but it's very plausible.
It's very plausible. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So, okay, so you kind of made your argument against against the reasoning or the logic that some guy 400 years ago said, "I think, therefore I am." Do you have like another philosophy thing that you have got more? Oh shit! They have more knowledge about, or actually have somewhat believe in.
But what's the question?
It's basically just if you okay. So if you don't think this one is good enough, which one do you think is good enough for you?
Which ideology?
Oh no, like not ideology. No, like you think, therefore you am. You don't think that's good enough for you.
Yeah.
Do you know anything else along that basis? What else do you think constitutes your belief for that?
Well, if I had to sum up my belief in one sentence like that, I'd say I think, therefore I probably am. I mean, I've through reason and logic, I've come to the conclusion that I live by the fact that I exist. Although technically, I can't know, right? There's no.
Well,
I
you
can't
could
think
say
of an
that about
elegant way
anything.
to put it in one
You could
sentence.
say like
Right.
Like you could take just like in the same vein, you could say like I I mean you guys probably exist, but how can I know that? Like
Right.
I feel like it's taken that way, so therefore it kind of ruins the whole point of the question. If you
What do you
Are
mean?
you getting what I'm saying?
What did you say?
So if your conclusion is like I think therefore I probably exist, like I'm like in the same vein I could say, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that my family exists, like everyone else around me exists. I'm pretty sure about it. Like, and I feel like coming to that conclusion kind of defeats the point of the question, with like, because the whole point is like having 100% definitive proof on like whether you exist or not is the point of it.
How does it defeat the point of the question?
Because like, wasn't the question? Well, not the question. The
I mean,
sort of like,
the statement.
like what's the thing that we can 100% conclude?
Hmm.
And it's like, and he came and what was his name? Descartes, something like that. Descartes.
Descartes.
Yeah.
He was.
Descartes into house.
He came to the conclusion that if he thinks he's 100% real.
That's the only thing
So,
that he says he can know for sure.
yeah.
That he's real. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard you are even less skeptical than Descartes. That you think there's 100% evidence that 2 plus 2 is 4.
Yeah, makes sense.
Ooh.
There is absolutely no way that 2 plus 2 could possibly not be 4.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You get.
I mean, think about
Like-
this parallel universe.
But there's
right?
no way you can
Well,
get 2
yeah,
sheep
like
to walk
the-
over to 2 sheep and equal 5 sheep. There's no possible way that could happen.
Yeah.
At what point during that transition does it suddenly morph into 5 sheep?
I mean,
Unless
I think that
you're talking about like the terms of like like if 1, 2, 3 then goes to 5 and this skips 4 because 4 is 5 and 5 is 4.
Well, that's a
Well, I
language
think that-
issue.
But are you just
Like
talking
it,
about?
Yeah, I
like
think
it could be like a language, like a language thing where like it's a simple misunderstanding between two different universes. Let's say that.
yeah,
I
I
don't
think
just
what
mean.
Jonesy's get. I think. Sorry. you
I
go.
don't just mean that the words 4 and 5 are replaced, but 4 is actually
Yeah.
5. You know what I mean?
Well, like, that's
Yeah.
just changing
Well,
the
like the
words
concept.
around. I would
The
think.
con- no, I think what it means is like because so like I think what Jonesy's kind of getting at is because I'm gonna sound like the biggest fucking like lefty liberal arts major or whatever. But like because numbers are socially constructed, right? Like they're a social construction that we use to understand the world, right? While there are like real things like values that those numbers that we but like the fact that we've decided that like four means like four of those things, the value that we assign to like the number four. Like could there hypothetically be another society? We can't prove that what's it mean? Four can't equal five, I guess. Or like two plus two can't equal five. Like two and two.
Hmm.
The value those things represent, I guess. There could be some hypothetical society where if everyone decides that, and to socially construct numbers in such a way that it could possibly exist, I guess. Is that what you're saying, Jonesy? Like,
Yeah, basically.
I don't know, because like, how could you possibly construct like a number system that blatantly ignores like how there's one thing, two thing. Well, fuck, I'm using the. Do you get what I mean? Like, if there's actually like
yeah.
Well, they could
like
just completely remade the
object.
remade. I think the words for a particular set of something, and also didn't rearrange it because then we're bringing our own number system into their reality, which is going to be false to them. So basically, what they could have done was basically just rearrange the entirety of our number of our 10 digits, basically 0 to 9, and basically just rearrange them to like let's say 7 to 3. That doesn't mean that the definitions might have changed for each number or word for the number, but the number is still the same because it can go from like 9, 7, 5 or something like that. But I've got
I have diagrams.
I thought you were going to say I have
CDs.
diarrhea. I don't know why. Yeah?
There is four things in here. Well, four in our socially constructed view, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
There we go. Is that enough proof that there's four?
No.
So there's two in
You
each
can never
hand.
know. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get the camera to look out better. Okay, so there's two things. Can these stand up? Yep. So we're gonna add them both, and then you bring them there. In what universe would there somehow be 5 in the center there?
Look,
ah,
I don't know. So, 2 plus 2 equaling 4 makes perfect sense to me. I live through that conclusion, right? If I have two things, I have two things, I have four things, and that's always been true, right? But I mean, have you ever had a dream where where something
Where you get-
election stones.
where something made absolute perfect sense to you? You've thought about it as if it's self-evident. Everyone
So-
you know knows this. You know it. Yet when you wake up, you're like, wait, that's not true at all. That makes no sense. But it made perfect sense to you in your dream.
Well, now you're bringing dreams into the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
I
can't
think
do
he's
that.
using dreams as a medium to make a general point
Yeah.
rather than like it's just like a dream.
Hmm.
Like could there in a different universe something that we hold self-evidently to be true like mean a completely different thing?
Hmm.
We may be in a dream
Yeah.
right now that's just like reality, except 2 plus 2 is 4 instead of in reality where 2 plus 2 is 5.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
see, how could you in a dream like somehow figure out that shift? You know what I mean? Like that shift when you're adding the two objects together, and then somehow when it reaches the end, it's 5 things.
Well, you don't
Well-
understand it. You just take it for granted.
Okay, so Jonesy, so
Yeah.
you're talking about if I actually add two, like 2 plus 2, and actually get 5 things. Are you talking about actually having 5 things? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
What do you mean?
So, okay, so okay, I'm gonna try articulate more.
Okay.
So if I have two, which is 1 and 2, and I have another two, which is 1 and 2. If I plus those two together, using our number system right now that we have, using only single digits, 5 is one going up in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 times that has happened. That's 5 times I've counted one thing. So are you proposing that somehow 2 plus 2 equals 5? So I start off with 4 and I somehow end up with 5. But in the dream reality, that 2 plus 2 equals 5, even though in our reality it's supposed to be 4.
I don't really get what you're saying. Sorry.
Am I
Chris,
just explaining it wrong?
maybe.
Yes.
I'm
Very
just
wrong.
not sure what you mean.
Very super wrong.
Okay. Okay. So in our reality, 2 plus 2 equals 4.
Mhm.
There's 2 things plus 2 things equals up to 4 things.
Mhm.
So are you able to explain to me how and why, in an alternate universe, should 2 plus 2 equals 5? In our using our number system, 5 it's basically one more than 4.
Mhm.
So are you telling me that somehow another one appears using our number system to equal up to 5 in an alternative reality? Or are you saying that it goes 1, 2, 3, then 5, skipping 4 completely because 4's out of their number plane?
Well, if it did go 1, 2, 3, 5, that would just be an issue of definitions, right?
So
Chris,
are you saying it's just a in their reality it's a problem of mathematics?
it's a problem of mathematics in our reality
In
too.
no. Okay. I just think Jonesy is trolling us.
I'm not trolling, dude.
Shut the fuck.
Yeah, I see the point he's making. I just think, no,
Look,
you're wrong.
it doesn't make any sense to me why 2 plus 2 wouldn't be 4, right? But the question is, how do I know that I'm not just wrong?
Okay. So if we go back to the previous argument that we had about a consensus against experts, would you say a consensus against for experts for like a consensus from experts in mathematics? Basically, that would say that 2 plus 2 equals 4 in
Yeah,
our reality.
I'd
And
say.
plus, and mathematics is used basically everywhere in everything we basically do, even just in counting. So in their reality, 2 plus 2 equals 5 with the consensus of their experts in mathematics.
It's not just that it does that with the consensus of their experts that it actually does. Like it objectively like
No,
two plus two. You add 2 and 2 together and you get 5, and not just like 5, like the actual value that 5 represents. Like, could there be another universe where, yeah, you add 2 and 2 together and you get 5? Like, it's not just
it's like
um
what is 5? Because
5
then
is 5. Like in our
yeah
universe, you add
yeah
Five
you
is
add
the
2 and 2 from
value
our
of
universe
5.
together and get 5, the value of 5 from
Okay,
because
our
Chris.
universe.
I would
They're
say
kind of
5 is a definition of a set number.
yeah.
4 is a definition of a set
5.
number. I'm trying to understand I poorly constructed this throughout this entire time, but now I've got the perfect kind of question. What what number
5.
value is 5 in their reality?
5.
It's
1,
5.
2, 3, 4, 5.
What
That's 5.
It's
That's
still the
5
value that 5
things.
represents.
This isn't an issue of definitions, right? Like in this reality and their
so in
reality,
this
the
reality, 2
definitions are the
plus 2
same.
equals 4, and in their reality, 2 plus 2 equals 5. So I don't know what you're trying to fucking get to.
Look,
Like,
if you,
how does another one magically appear in there? Otherwise,
I
that's
don't
just
know.
a problem of mathematics in their system. That's
Look,
It's
foreign
not
to
a
us.
logical. It's not specifically like that by some like feat of logic you make 4 plus 4 equal 5. It's about like
2 plus 2 equals
could
5,
there
not 4 plus
exist
4.
another reality in which that is the case?
Look, Chris, if you're in a dream, right, where if you hit a calculator, you go 2 plus 2 equals, it says 5. Every mathematician on Earth says 2 plus 2 equals 5. You live your life thinking 2 plus 2 equals 5 when you're doing maths, working out prices and things like that. It's always been 2 plus 2 equals 5. And it makes perfect sense to you.
But then when you use the examples, you get 2 of these things and 2 of these. Where does the 5th one come from?
I don't know, because
You just get a 5th one. It's just there. Like it's just you hold it to self-evidently be true that 2 and 2 equal 5.
Okay, so I think the question would have been answered like quickly. It's just like if one just magically appears and now it's 5.
it could be like that.
Because if it wasn't a dream, that would make sense in some regard, because you'll self-evidently believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to
It's not that you self-evidently believe that; it's that it is true. Like it is a self-evident truth. It's not about like whether you believe something to be true or not. It's about like hypothetically, like could in this hypothetical universe, 2 plus 2 equals 5. That's what like that is it. It is a fact, and it is a reality that is self-evidently true. There is no alternative.
That's bullshit.
And you guys are trying to make the point
be a
that
thing.
you guys are trying to make the point that 2 plus 2 equals 5, and that's obvious. That makes sense. But the thing is, I agree with that, right? I live in this universe where 2 plus 2
Man, you
equals
got
5.
bad math skills.
Yeah, well, we live in this universe where 2 plus 2 equals 4. Like, we
Equals 4,
understand that. Like, in this universe, using our number system, like that is a self-evident fact for anyone who has like, what's the word? Like skills of arithmetic beyond like a first grader, right? And we're not trying to say that like it's some sort of logical like use of like this universe's number system that we get to that. It's saying, could there exist a reality where like things that we hold self-evidently to be true aren't actually true? Like is that what you're trying to say, Jonesy? That like even things that we like,
Yeah, I think.
yeah.
It could be true.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
And
I'm
are
just
you trying
saying
to
I
use this
don't think
hypothetical
that
to get
could
to like
exist.
we kind of hold the fact that we think as something that is self-evidently true? Like we think, therefore we are. So like the fact that we're able to ponder whether we exist or not is proof that we exist. You're saying that like because there are some things that we hold self-evidently to be true that like I don't know that could hypothetically not. I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting my brain tied up.
So
I'm going to send a video to the thing for you guys to look at after the podcast has been done, because it's very good.
okay, I'll put it in the description maybe.
Put a link into the description.
Yeah, but basically my point is fuck, sorry.
I'll be right back.
Hold on.
Talk to Ethan. This one. I think you'd
Sorry,
know the
technical
video I'm going to
difficulties.
post. Have a guess.